Hi, greetings from the farm. Thank you, Tony, for having me on again. So today I want to read to you a little bit from my book, The Way It Should Be. And this and my newest book, What Happens Next, are my two favorites of all the books that I've written. So I hope you enjoy this, and if you haven't read it already, I hope you'll give it a chance. The most beautiful things are those that survive a storm and find their glory in the restoration. That thought came to Zara Mahoney's mind as she turned off the gravel lane and onto the farm, their farm, hers and Chad's. Most of the things she loved dearly, the items that she'd brought with her through the years, were old and weathered. They showed the strain of time and the softening of experience. Even the 1968 Ford pickup she drove was what many would call a relic. But when she looked at its chipped teal paint, the smattering of rust, the duct-taped bench seat, she saw resilience and strength. That old house and overgrown land energized her. Underneath the layer of neglect, there was a future that she would share with her new husband. That place, though it looked fragile, wasn't an ending, but a great and powerful beginning. Zara twirled the new set of keys around her index finger and scanned the overgrown 20 acres of land, Chad and Zara Mahoney's own little house. She and Chad were college sweethearts. They had met on campus outside the building where a few of her business courses and most of his accounting lectures were held. He was the first person who shared her excitement over her plans to take her degree in business and minor in botany and grow them into a company that provided natural products made by her own hands. He'd even come up with a name, Zara's Garden. Her fingers yearned to pull back and peel the white paint and hack away at the rambling blackberry bushes, but the treetops swirled as the wind picked up, pushing loose hair over her face. If she was going to get this load of boxes inside before the rain started and turned cardboard into mush, she couldn't stand around daydreaming. Not even as she caught a glimpse of purple crocuses emerging from the soil near the house's foundation. There would be time, a lifetime. The key slid easily into the worn lock, clicking as it turned. The moist air of the Willamette Valley winter had swollen the wood, fitting the door and its frame together in a tight embrace. As Zara tugged a few more times, the knob slipped from her grip, and the entrance flew open, almost throwing her off the brittle porch. Beep, beep! A mail truck bumped through the last of the potholes, inching towards her until it stopped a few feet away. The man who stepped out was the image of Santa Claus on a tropical vacation. His short-sleeved Hawaiian shirt pushed the limits of the buttons above his khaki pants. A fluffy white beard nearly covered his face, and shaggy white hair tumbled from his head. "Hey there, you the new owner?" "I am." She stretched her hand out to shake his. "I'm Zara Brooks." "Nope. I'm sorry, Zara Mahoney." One crazy caterpillar eyebrow cocked. We just got married last week, my husband and I." The words were still new on her tongue and had a delightful sweet taste. He nodded. "Well then, congratulations, Mrs. Mahoney. I was headed to check the mailbox as soon as I finished unloading a few things. Sorry you had to come all the way down the driveway." He rubbed the back of his neck. "I think I made it through without whiplash, but it was close." His eyes smiled. Leaning into the truck, the man pulled out a mailbox door. "I thought you'd prefer to have your letters delivered rather than left to the wind and rain." He handed Zara the warped metal with one hinge still attached. "It's supposed to get nasty again by the end of the week." His gaze lifted to the sky. "You've got to love these Oregon springs. The weather jumps around more than a toddler with a belly full of sugar." Zara took the salvaged material, mentally adding mailbox to her growing list of projects. Yikes, the blessings of home ownership, huh? She grinned. It would take a lot more than a broken mailbox to bring her down from the clouds today. He bobbed his head. "Underneath it all, I think you picked a good one. This place has solid bones." He climbed into the cab and handed a stack of letters through the window. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with this old house. Thank you, she waved as he drove away, the truck lurching from one side to the next on the uneven road. Tossing the mailbox door into the bed of her pickup, Zara dropped the tailgate and tugged the first of her boxes into her arms, the mail stacked on top. By the time she made it through the front door, her biceps screamed. She'd wake up sore tomorrow, but this was so worth the pain. Tonight, she and Chad would have their very first dinner together in their new home. Zara scrunched her nose as she ventured further into the house. It had been shut up since they took their final walkthrough a few weeks earlier. Now, absent of the synthetic floral scents of room freshener, the inside smelled damp and mustier than it had on any of the visits with the real estate agent. She lowered the box, letting it drop the last foot onto the cracked tile, then tossed the mail on the counter. Chad would be home from his first mandatory meeting at Emerald and Irving Financial in 3 hours. That's how long she had to make sure he didn't question this investment on their first night. Zara's next load included 2 smaller boxes with a watery jar of seeds balanced on top. Water waved back and forth as she took the stairs into the house. On the kitchen threshold, she tripped, catching herself before she lost her grip. 4 more steps forward, and Zara's toe rammed the first box, still sitting on the floor. Agony shot up through her shin, and the jar tumbled. Glass shattered on impact. With the unforgiving surface, flat black seeds, the size and shape of beetles, flew to all corners of the kitchen. She had waited weeks for these treasures to arrive. If she had to wait for another batch, it would be it would ruin her critical planting timeline. Zara shoved the boxes onto another counter and slammed the door shut. As she did, the stack of mail lifted and fluttered to the floor, each piece drawing up glass-laced water. Dropping to her knees, Zara picked up each seed while cold water on chilly tile saturated her jeans. More than a few seeds had floated under the edge of the cabinets. When Zara located the 25th and final holdout, she laid them on the worn groove cutting board. The seeds needed to be relocated to trays of soil, placed on a heating pad, before she could start preparing Chad's and her celebratory dinner. Yanking open the flaps on the largest box, Zara freed a few towels from the items that they were protecting, then tossed them on the spreading pond underfoot. With her thumb and forefinger, she picked up the pieces of the mail and shook them over the sink. A bill for the previous owner, junk mail, a flyer, a welcome home card, and her breath stilled. All the fragile fragments of her dreams shuddered. This was the one thing she'd taken for granted, not allowing fear and dysfunction to steal what she'd built. But all it took was a glance at the envelope for the past's hatred, sorrow, and loss to invade her new life. Standing on legs that felt like they'd run a marathon, she rinsed her hands and toweled them dry. There was nothing to be afraid of. She reached for the envelope and tore it open. The letter, one side soaked in seed water, stuck to the inside, then finally came free. Zara read over the blurring words. It was from her mother, an inmate in the women's correctional facility just a few hours north of Zara and Chad's new farm. How had she gotten the new address? Zara could toss this in the trash, an action she almost always wished she'd done immediately after reading her mother's spiteful notes, which let old hurts rise to the surface once again. Yet, with the pain, sweet memories of her little brother came back in a rush, followed by the bottomless grief of losing him. Every tiny bit of Tyson had been a precious gift, everything except for the genes that ultimately took his young life and destroyed their family. She and her sister Eve had been only 14 when he died. Zara's phone buzzed. She snatched it from the counter and answered. "Is this Zara Brooks?" The voice on the other end sounded professional, but not in a let me sell you something kind of way. "It is." She didn't correct the last name. "Hello, Zara. This is Colette from Dr. McKenzie's office." He asked me to call you with the results of your recent tests. Zara's heart fluttered. Okay. The shaking in her voice only sent her nerves further into panic, even though her doctor had said this was the responsible thing to do. Before they started a family, Chad and Zara should know for sure if she was a carrier for the gene that had caused her brother's death. These tests would put the niggling questions away, not letting them poke at her like splinters for the rest of her life. Everything looks good as far as your health goes, but I'm afraid you did test positive as a carrier for Hunter syndrome. Positive. The letter still in one hand drifted to the floor. Tears washed over her cheeks and crumpled her fragile hope. It had only taken a second to destroy her fairy tale future. She ended the call, picked up the paper, and stuffed it into the bag she'd used for trash.